finally came up so I can pull up my email. Mm.
So natural as the skin out here, as natural as the chill in the wind. And this is the place we have again, and yet you're taking me there again. Glory, I as you enter the sexy vibe, ecstasy's keeping me mesmerized. Living your natural life.
Good evening, everybody. How are y'all doing?
Good. How you doing?
I'm okay. Tawanda's not yet on camera, but we'll see her in a minute. Welcome to our second episode of Natural Vibe. You have myself, Miss Nicole Ray, and Miss Tawana Bathe Dubois. Tonight we are going to have a very special guest, a really good friend of mine. He's going to talk to us about his history of music, his start, what he has going on, and things like that. We're going to ask him a lot of questions and get some great information. We're going to give you our poll results from the first and second week of our best and worst remakes. We're going to give you some historical facts, some current events, and then we're going to talk about birthdays and the best birthday season that there is. Scorpio season.
That's debatable.
So I want to tell y'all a little bit. I'm going to remove Tawana for now until Tawana, you there? I'm going to move it from the screen until we figure out what's going on with her video. But we're going to first bring to you a good friend of mine. I've known him for over 20 years. He actually gave me my very first track to write to. It was a song that I wrote. It was called What Love Can Really Bring. That's what it was called. It's called What Love Can Really Bring. And I had tried to write songs before. I started in high school. Those songs sucked. My senior year in high school, my college songs sucked. I didn't quite have the format together yet. I didn't really fully have the concept of melodies because I was used to writing poetry, so they were coming out like that, and so I didn't really have the flow of songs. So he gave me my actual first track to write to, and I remember when I took him the lyrics, he read the lyrics and he was like, "Man, you wordy." And I was like, "Really?" But the thing is, I always wanted to write songs that said something. I didn't want to write just short, quirky songs or where they repeated. It was a song I don't know if it was by Missy Elliott at the time or she was even out, but I swear they said the same line like 50 million times. And I was like, I want to write that type of song. I want to write a song that says something. But I did have to learn how to edit a little bit. And so he took me through that process a little bit. And we actually have a couple of new tracks that are going to be on my next project that I'm in the process of working on. So I'm really excited to have him. He is a Grammy award-winning arranger. He's done musical scores. He's done a whole lot of things. He will tell you all about all of that. So I would like you guys to welcome my friend, Grammy award-winning arranger, producer, songwriter, multi-instrumentalist, born and raised in the Chi, just like the rest of us, Mr. Rob Dickey.
Hey, Miss Tammy.
Hey, Rob, how you doing?
What's going on? How you feel?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm good. Had to think about that one for a minute. Oh, look at me, I'm losing my.
So, Rob, I'd like to introduce you to Nicole. Y'all talk very briefly.
How you doing?
Hey, Nicole, how you feel?
I'm well.
Tawana will be joining us when her technical difficulties work out.
All
But
right.
I want to thank you for joining us. It's really appropriate that you're going to be our first guest because did you hear the intro?
Oh man, I'm like, right, Tammy stepping it up.
So that intro was actually a remix of my song Natural Vibe that was done by Rob Dickey and Maurice Joshua.
I heard it sounded familiar. I'm like, that
Oh, did you forget, really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
It sounded familiar. I knew it was somebody's song. I figured that
You getting old, but yeah, that's the remix that you and Maurice did for me.
Cool, cool, cool.
So I want to start out by Rob, just tell everybody a little bit about yourself and how you got started in music.
A little bit about myself. Can you hear me first of all one more time?
Yes.
Okay. I'm Rob Morrison. Got the name Rob Diggy. I used to be Rob Dog all through high school. I don't know. Somebody just named me Rob Dog. And I wound it up.
Oh, did you click him out?
I did accidentally. Go ahead. Sorry about that.
Yeah, I wound up being Rob Dog through college. And when I got out of college, that name followed me. And Mike Dunn, DJ Mike Dunn from Chicago, actually, he said, man, we got to change that dog. I'm going to make it Diggy. So Diggy lives through Mike Dunn. So I give him credit for that. And that's how that started. But my musical career started 88, working at Carl Fisher Music. From Carl Fisher Music, meeting a ton of musicians. I met a ton of musicians there. And from there, it just started escalating and escalating. And God sets a path. You don't really know, but you just have to kind of dive into the path. And it just kept going and going and going and going. And that path was music. Now, I'd always been involved in music some kind of way, whether it was education, whether it was singing or theater, because my background is musical, theater, drama, and things like that. And so it just kind of evolved. So you work daily to try to make sure that your craft, you're honing in on your skills and your craft, and you're connecting the dots along the way. And that's what happened with me. And that's primarily how I met you as well, connecting the dots through some other person, you know, like saying music or whatever. And we continue to, I continue to work and like I say, work with you and everything like that. But the span of working over the last 45 years has been, it's been amazing. It's been, I wish it could be a little bit more accelerated, but it's okay. I mean, I'm thankful for what God has put in my life and done for me. So I'm thankful. So, yeah.
Okay. And you were born and raised in the Chi, right?
Born and raised on the west side of Chicago. Went to Marshall High School. I didn't want to attend Marshall at all. That was the last place I wanted to go. I wanted to go to Westinghouse because I wanted to learn vocational skills, you know, auto mechanics, things like that, you know. And when I got to Marshall, and I always tell a story, but when I got to Marshall, the counselor, Miss Williams, she says, oh, you should stay here. We got a great program. And you know, Cooley High, I had seen that a few times, and it reminded me of a Cooley High. Monkey jungle type thing, you know, and I just didn't want to be, I didn't want to be in that atmosphere. So she says, oh, you got to stay, you got to join the band. And I joined the beginners band, not knowing anything about instruments because I played guitar, but wasn't that great at it. And I joined the beginners band as a trombone player. And the rest is history. I mean, I can go on about the whole story, but because I kind of keep my stories in detail. But being a freshman and playing trombone, not knowing anything about the horn, I had a dynamic ear. My ear got me through college, matter of fact. And from September to December, Mr. O'Banion, my high school band director, put me in beginners band. But then in December, I was in advanced band, but a freshman and beginners band. That's how I had developed my skill for the horn that quick. And then I probably like later on, a couple years later, piano was there in the band room. I would on the piano. So there you go.
So you play piano, trombone, guitar, anything else?
percussion, brass, trumpet, tuba, brass instruments I can play. Yeah, tuba, trumpet, baritone, horn, anything brassy, guitars, piano, percussion. Hmm.
So when you won your Grammy, you won a Grammy as an arranger for Beyonce's Crazy in Love. How did you get that news and how did you feel, when you heard?
Yeah, I was at home. I was chilling. Maurice Joshua, my partner, was out in LA, and they did a pre-Grammy ceremony, which they always do anyway, for the people that they don't announce, like the secondary people or whatever. So he called me or texted me. I can't remember. I think he called. Say, hey man, we won. I'm like, oh, okay. I was cool. I was like, yeah, I wasn't really. I mean, I was like, all right, cool, man, cool, great, And he sent I think he sent the text and showed me some stuff on the text, and from there, we had to wait. But he came home with the trophy, of course, and with the Grammys, if you're a producer, those main key people, they always get the trophy. The secondary people or the auxiliary people get plaques. Plaque holds just as much weight as the trophy, and so I've used it to my advantage in a lot of ways. So,
Because that's what I wanted to ask with Crazy in Love. What was your role in it? Because I was wondering, you got a Grammy, were you a songwriter, you were a producer, or arranger? What was your role?
I was a keyboard arranger for the song. Like the plaques you see behind me. All those records are remix records. We call them soul remixes, like what we did with Tammy, Natural Vibe, and the other record. But it turns out that me being a keyboard player, it works like any other song. They called the studio, they sent the vocals, and it was a typical day, like, just go to work. I was substitute teaching, and you leave work, you go to the studio, and we had this board, board says Beyonce, Destiny's Child, Mary J, and whomever. And so he says, hey, we got Beyonce on the board today. Okay, let's go. So we go and we do it, but we turn it in and forget about it. Like, it's just another record, so, and that's how we looked at it. It was about the money, we do it, get the money and push on. But we didn't know that this record was, well, for Maurice, he was nominated for producer for best remix. And that's where that came in at. So that's what allowed me to have the accolades I have now. But you never know what song is gonna go where. Like I think I mentioned to you, Tammy, about getting your songs ready for the Grammys.
You have. I'm looking into it. I'm trying to figure it out. I know you done told me about it for a year.
Yeah, you got to. You have to do that. It's very important.
And so you got the Grammy that you won for the Beyonce remix, but you also got a Grammy consideration for something else last year or earlier this year.
4 years ago now, and well, it was 4 years ago, and this year. So,
I know I follow you.
True. So I got a consideration for a song called Imagine, which you can find on YouTube. It's called under Robert W. Morrison, my government name. Why? Because when the record of that magnitude, I didn't want to use Diggy. I wanted to use my full name and show some range, with the record, not only with the record, but that name Morrison, Robert W. And say, oh, this must be a white dude. He's got to be white, scoring like this. So, no, I use that, but it was from a movie called The Gandhi Murder. And so I decided, why not take the record and see if I can get it nominated and for consideration. And it went through. To my surprise, it went through. And I found my name, and I'll just give you an example of the number. I think I was like 158 on the
Mm-hmm.
ballot,
Mm-hmm.
0158, I think. And then Barbara Streisand was 0159. I'm like, wow.
Oh wow.
Wait, I posted it on Facebook just out of, wow. And they were like, take that down now. That's our property.
Oh.
I think I had a conversation. I was like, the Grammys are very funny, and they'll kick you out for anything. So I try to be very careful what I post about, and even the language, how I use the language, because they're very particular about how they want to be represented. So, but yeah, that record, and that was the 60th.
Mm.
And this time, I don't know the numbers. I have to go back and look at the numbers. But this year, I had a record done with Hula Mahone, who's a producer for Summertime, Fresh Prince.
Yeah.
He also won a Grammy for that Summertime record, in which I played keys and jazz, like a keyboard jazz solo on his record called Summer Vibes,
Mm-hmm.
which was considered. I didn't submit that record. Somebody else submitted the record, and it wound up on the ballot. I'm like, wowzers, nice. So that's always a good thing. So 2 times it's charm. 3 times I got to get to the second round. That's where I got to get to now, because I don't know. The ballots aren't. They just voted. We just voted, but I don't know yet if I made the second round. It's a long shot when you got 22,000 records being listened to.
I have a question about Grammy Awards. So I heard that you win a Grammy, you don't, like, say if you're there and you get the Grammy, you don't actually get the Grammy, right? And in order for you to actually receive the trophy, you have to pay for it. Is that true?
It's not true.
Okay.
They send them my UPS, because I remember being at Maurice's house the day it came. Like, I was literally in his front room. He said, it's a box there. I don't even think he knew what it was, because you forget about it. I've gotten things from them, through FedEx, and I'm like, what is this? And it's like the invitations for to come to the show, or the tickets or whatever. And you just forget about it. But no, they get theirs free. I had to pay for mine. So
Okay.
that's just how it works. So, but I've used it to my total advantage in a lot of ways. Lots of ways I've used it.
Well, how did you get into doing? Oh, Nicole, I'm sorry, you're gonna ask something.
Yeah, but go ahead.
I was gonna say, how did you get into doing movie scores? How did you make that transition?
Because I didn't want to be typecast as a producer, being out with Mike Dunn and Maurice Joshua and all these cats that were doing tracks and beats. I could do that well. I could do that with my eyes closed. I didn't want to. I said to myself, I said, well, there's got to be something else I can do. What separates me from everybody else in this building? I don't know if you ever come down to our building, 1648 West Kenzie. That was the hub for everybody. 1648 was the hub for, you name it. Celebrities were there. Cameo, R. Kelly, Changing Faces. We had a bunch of people that would stop through. But everybody there was a producer. Everybody could do a beat. Everybody could play guitar. But nobody could score a film. I knew that. I knew it going into it, because I walked into one of the law offices and I said, hey, man, what y'all doing? He's doing a movie. And I said, I bet y'all could put music to that. I just said it. I said, well, bring your stuff in. So went next door, got my stuff from one studio and brought it over. And we set up and I started playing. And they liked it. And we had this guy come in and do a voiceover. Like, it was kind of like a singing part, like a hum, like if somebody got shot and I was playing the piano. And it sounded really nice. So they kept it. And everybody was looking like, man, we got something. You got something here. So it worked. And from there, I'm like, hey, I think I can do this, again. I can do it and keep doing it. Only thing with doing it, I didn't have the arsenal, the equipment, I only had chord keyboard at the time, I think. I had an MPC, I think, and you can't score with those. Like it needs to be time coded. I didn't know anything about time code. I didn't know. All I knew is that the notes I would write when he says, shoot the gun, start the music. And that's what I would give the director. Shoot the gun, start the music. Bam. Or when he says, I love you, play pretty music. And that's how we did it. And that went on for a number of years until I started getting equipment and started understanding that this piece corresponds with this piece and figuring out that I can continue to do this if I have the right equipment, and I wanted to learn. I was all about sound. I'm all about hearing stuff on television now. Like if you listen to Dune, or if you listen to any big production, you're listening to sound. And those sounds have always intrigued me. So like 2004, when I got my first Mac, I'm like, you know what? I prayed. I said, I don't want to stay in the factory world, like the factory presets and things like that. I want it to sound bigger. So I started investing my money and we started getting cracks. Cracks were the programs that you get under the table that you can break the codes and put them in your computer. But I knew I couldn't keep doing that. So I started paying for my stuff. So now I have an arsenal of sounds that I can go out and sound just like Hollywood, and sound just as good as anybody else. And I think I'm doing it a lot better than a lot of people because I try to, even the stuff that's cinematic, like I use a lot of heavy cinematic sounds. So those sounds I use in a lot of films that I've done. And people say, well, how are you getting away with this? I was scoring a film the other night and this guy says, that was too easy. I said, well, you wanted me to score it, right? He said, oh, no, but I enjoyed it. And it was just that quick. I did it, knocked it out. Mm-hmm.
So I have a question about that. I had another question I want to go into, but as you were talking, I was wondering, did you have anybody, like when you said at first you were kind of like, hey, when he says this, play pretty music or whatever, did you have anybody showing you along the way, or did you just kind of learn as you were going and say, hey, I need to be doing this, or was somebody kind of showing you?
I learned on my own. Nobody showed me. I was able to just understand. And I didn't do it. It wasn't a lot of YouTube videos weren't out. You pretty much had to just wing it. But I knew that it was something special about what I was doing. I just didn't know what. And I figured it out as I went along and it worked. And then from that point there, I was able to say, you know what? This piece has to correspond with this piece or this piece and so forth until I was able to get a foothold. Now, there was some things I did wrong, even in scoring, that when the directors heard it, it was like, not quite right. Can you change that out? And when I'm thinking that was the best I could do, I say, no, scratch that. You can do better. And from that day on, I learned about the mental discipline that you must have when you're scoring, because you cannot put yourself in a position to think that what you do is, that's going to stick, because it's not your film.
Mm-hmm.
I treat every film like it's my baby, but you have to make sure that you're giving the client what they want all the time, so, but yeah, I pretty much got everything on my own equipment. And I'm always on different websites, understanding and learning. Saturday mornings, I'm up eating a bowl of cereal with YouTube, learning. But the key right now for me is discipline, to understand that if I'm working with you on a film, it's your film. It's not my film. But we have to come to a happy medium, because there's going to be some things that you like, I don't like, or vice versa. And we're going to come to a happy medium to make sure it's done right. So temperament, it's out the door for me. I don't, my ego is out the door. Tammy will tell you, I'm a very easygoing person when it comes to working and everything. So I just try to throw my ego out the door, because that's what's going to take you a long way. Not having that super ego. Some people think I'm arrogant, but I don't. I haven't seen it. Mm-hmm.
So I want to ask you, I'm sorry, Tammy, but
Okay.
I want to ask you about your, because Tammy mentioned that you're a songwriter also. So I know everybody has a different process because me and Tammy talked about it, and Tammy mentioned how, she doesn't like to just go in the studio and write on the spot, just play something and create. But for me, I found that it's easier for me to be in the studio on the spot, but I've been like that in school too. I work great under pressure, but when they send me the track, it takes me forever to get it. But if I'm there in the studio, 10 minutes, okay, here we go. Let's lay this part. That's my process, which is easier for me, or to be writing with somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what's your writing process?
Well, when you say writing, I have to break that down because when I write, I mean from a musical standpoint. So I'm always thinking of music. I very seldom write lyrics. It's not really a super strong point for me. I do it, but musically, if I can sit down and write a track, when I say write, compose a track,
Mm-hmm.
I can do that, in a matter of 2 hours or less, really like an hour, maybe probably 30 minutes to put down a nice groove and then send the track over to you and say, there you go, write to it. Now you can literally write the music in. And I'm always the type of person, I don't really care what you write. Let's just get it done. But, at some point I'll listen and to see what it's going to sound like. But while you're doing your process, I'm out of it. Do what you do, make it sound good. Like for a long time, I didn't know that David Hollister was talking about his other ex-girlfriend or something. Seeing you reminds me of the way I used to beat it up and something. I'm like, is he saying that? I'm like, I heard the song a million times, but I'm listening to the music because the music was so beautiful that I'm thinking, okay, I'm in the car driving. I'm like, okay, he's actually saying what I think he's saying. That's when I started understanding more about lyrical,
And that's because you're a musician. Because see, before when I was just sing every song I heard, I'm listening to the lyrics. I'm listening to the vocalists. But then when I started playing bass, everything now I listen to is musical first, and then lyrics or vocal. But I'm hearing music more.
Yeah, I gotta stick to the musical part, and I'll throw you the track and be like, have at it, hit me back when you're done, Now, if I'm doing background vocals, I'll take time with an artist, and we'll go and come up with parts. I like doing that. I like coming up with parts. Sometimes people sound too old school, but you have to kind of keep it current. So I have to watch myself and make sure I'm staying current. Mm-hmm.
And you do still do tracks for people. You have a place, a site where people can go and listen to like samples of your music, and they can pick from something that's there, but they can also reach out to you, right? What's that?
Yeah, simple. I just send them like I said, send me an email. I'll send you over a track, send you over a couple things you can listen. No website or anything like that. My score stuff is on SoundCloud. And that's for my clients, that film directors and producers that want to check me out. But like normally, if you say, well, I'm looking for some neo soul, I'll go on my folder and call up some neo soul, or maybe write some neo soul and send it out. You like it, we vibe, we cut, I get paid, it's a wrap.
Didn't you have something called Loops or something like that? You still do that?
You know what? I do. And it was exciting when COVID was hitting. When COVID was in, I made a crap load of money, man, doing loops. But now I've slowed down. And not because I'm only slowed down because my workload picked up. People calling me daily. Hey, man, my phone will ring. I need you to do this. I need you to do this. I need you to do this. So I'm always putting myself in a position to work with my paying clients first, because the loop company, which is Big City Loops, they only pay out, I think, the 1st and the 15th.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm working on a project, I need to make this money in between. You know what I'm saying? And I had to create these loops. Like I literally was getting up every morning, creating 8-bar loops and putting them online and selling them. The checks were so good. They were so, I couldn't believe I had a niche, a niche to do what I was doing. I was using the term AKA. I use like Alpha Kappa Alpha, and I actually used that, and it worked. So I was an AKA love, sexy, or whatever it was, and that title picked up my colored, the graphics were pink and green or whatever. I got away with it, and I did really, really super well selling loops. Now I just turned in a pack, I think Monday, but I haven't done them in a while. I just, and the checks are smaller now, and I've been doing it for a year. I should see a nice little, return, in terms of when I do my taxes and stuff like that. But man, I slowed down because I've been working every day. I got a TV series I'm doing, a series in LA. I got some other stuff here in Chicago, a dating show, just another movie. It's just, and it's funny because I'm laughing because I'm like, man, okay, so now I'm gonna stop this project and work on this one. I can stop on this one, work on this one, send this out, send that out, And then I got a big job in Canada, and I dropped everything to do that. So yeah, you gotta go where the money is. Chase the paper.
Okay, I got one more question for you, but before we get to the last question that I'm gonna ask you, I want to see what you think about this poll that we do. So we're doing a poll. We're doing like the best and the worst remakes, right? And so I'm posting them in my Facebook group, and I'm letting people vote every week. Last week was the first week we did it. So I want to know what your picks are, and then I'm gonna tell you what won. So for week 1, the best or some of the best remakes we gave were No One in the World, Anita Baker's remake of Dionne Warwick. A Song for You, Donny Hathaway's remake of Leon Russell. And Yesterday, Boyz II Men remake of The Beatles. Out of those 3, what would be your pick?
I'm about to say Boyz II Men.
Really?
Yeah, because they vocalize it. And that was a very unique way they did it, So I'm gonna have to go with definitely Boyz II Men on that one.
Okay. In the poll for the week, No One in the World won.
Really?
And that was Nicole's pick.
And the reason why I feel like that's awesome is because, first of all, I had no idea that Anita Baker had remade. I didn't know it was a Dionne Warwick song. So when I went back and listened to Dionne Warwick's, that was still like, it just sounds so majestic. Like I was telling me, I'm like, you could tell she got an orchestra behind her. It sounds like she should have on one of those hats that what's her name? Your favorite artist?
Phyllis Hyman.
Phyllis Hyman be wearing those. It just looked majestic. It just sound majestic. And because I think Whitney Houston is the greatest singer in the world, I could hear Whitney singing Dionne's version. But I just think they were both great. And I think since Dionne's was so great, and for Anita to make it sound like it wasn't a remake, I had no idea.
I'm gonna do my research when I leave you guys and look that up.
Okay, Tawana, are you there? Okay. Worst for week 1, some of the worst songs that we said, these are songs where we feel like people should not have done these remakes.
Okay.
Right? We don't like them. So they were September by Taylor Swift, Earth, Wind & Fire's remake. I'll Write a Song for You, Patti LaBelle remade it, Earth, Wind & Fire. And Higher Ground, Red Hot Chili Peppers.
September, Taylor Swift.
That's the one in the poll.
I think I heard it. I was like, ugh.
That's the one in the poll.
I was like, what the hell is going on with these people?
Nicole,
I was upset.
right?
Yeah, that's the one I picked. I was upset when I heard that.
I'm like, what in the heck is going on?
So Tawana she's commenting. She said yes.
Yeah.
but I can't hear her like when I add her in.
Oh.
So best remake week 2 was All I Do Is Think of You, Troops remake of the Jackson 5. You're All I Need to Get By, Aretha's remake of Tammy and Marvin, and If Only You Knew, SWV's remake of Patty.
Well, being a musician and being a big fan of Chucky Booker, I got to go with Troop.
That's the one. That was my pick too.
Was
I'm sorry. Troop owned that song. I'm sorry.
They really did a great job. If you listen to the original and to theirs, Chucky Booker put his foot in it. He did a great job with the production, and that's why I'm going with that one.
I mean, that was a good one. That was one too. I think I was a young buck when that came out. I had no idea that.
You said young buck.
I had no idea that was a Jackson 5 song until I was like an adult. So,
like this, like you do.
Right. Until I was like grown.
Yeah.
But so yeah. But SWV, have you heard SWV remake of If Only You Knew? You need to listen to it because I think musically too, to me, it sounds like they had a live band recording it. And I think the end of it, the drums and everything, Coco was killing it.
Well,
even Lily sang the first verse, and you know
really?
they
and they don't let her do nothing. So
well, you know, on this last CD, you know, Coco, you know, they had a TV show, right? And I looking at that, I felt like I could never be in a group with her. She didn't want to sing because she felt like she should be getting more money because I'm the lead singer. So on this one, she was like, well, I'm not singing. She was just being really difficult. So the other girls did sing a little more. She still was the voice, but the other two girls did sing a lot more because she was just kind of like, I'm not going to sing as much, but.
Okay. And then the week 2, the worst remakes out there, My Prerogative, Britney Spears remake of Bobby Brown, Don't Want to Lose Your Love, BNGB's remake of Emotions, and Make It Last Forever, Nas, Joe, and Mariah. Remake of Key Sweat, of course.
I haven't heard any of those.
Really?
Right. I'm not a big radio person. So yeah, if I catch it, I'll catch it, but I'm not.
Do you remember who BNGB is?
It's very like in the like 890s or something.
90s,
she from MC Hammer. That's who she, you know, came out with.
Yeah, but I don't know.
Don't remember.
Well, I know my prerogative.
Huh?
I say I know my prerogative, but I don't know the remakes or remixes or
Well, what wrong was My Prerogative, Britney Spears. Check it out. It's horrible. It's awful. I picked that one as one of the worst remakes. It's awful. Take a listen to it.
And that probably is the worst. Because I haven't heard hers either. But I can only imagine.
Cool.
So the last question I'm going to ask you, Rob, is just as somebody who's been playing as long as you have and been in the game as long as you've been in it and knows as much as you know, what advice would you give to aspiring artists, songwriters, producers, based on what you've known in your 40 plus years of doing this?
You want the long or the short?
The short version.
Well, I'll say get a gun and kill music. That's first off. I got that from a friend of mine. He said, man, if I could kill music, I'd kill him. You know, because he was trying so hard to just get to that next level.
You talking about Musiq Soulchild?
No, music, the music term. Music wants
music.
to kill music because he felt like he wasn't accelerating, you know. I would say that these new jacks, I call them new jacks, and people that are aspiring, man, it ain't like it used to be, you know. You really have to now pay close attention to the internet because that's where everything is. You know, and then people say, oh, I didn't know that was on there. I didn't know that was there. Yeah. Pay close attention to the internet, still honing your skills. I think every aspiring artist, whether you're a singer or a musician should have a home studio. If you don't have a home studio, then you better get on your phone and you better get an app with a studio on it, with the mic pre's and stuff built into that iPhone or whatever you want to call it. Get you a piano, study voice. Every artist that comes up here, I'll tell them, say, download this piano app, study that piano app, play the piano, just so you can understand, or tap the keys so you can understand key ranges. People have a hard time and they don't want to discipline themselves. They think it comes overnight. I can be a star, you can now, but to put in as much work and time as I have, I'm still not where I want to be. I talk to God about it, but God got his own time. And, I feel like I'm going to win an Oscar doing a score. It may not be a major motion picture, but it's going to be either a documentary or a short, something that's going to be recognized by the Academy of Motion Pictures. And I think I'm going to get that Oscar for that. But to the point is that you have to continue to grind. You have to read. You have to YouTube. You have to ask questions. There's so many things you have to do just to, you can have a one day, you can spend all day researching. And if you feel good about that research, then you know that you've, reached that pinnacle for that day. You have to, because if not, then why are you in this? And are you have a listening audience or something?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I'm just saying, because this may be broadcasted at some point, but don't hate me, but just understand that I'm telling the truth, God's honest truth about honing in on your craft. I wake up now thanking God and saying, okay, I got to go to work, and my work is coming in the studio, and knowing I got projects lined up. I got this one today, I got that one today, and that's what the reward has become. I'm going to take a little small job as after school program with some kids that want to sing, because I can play a right piano and teach them some songs, some children's songs. That's where I come from. But having the know-how to be able to get off your butt every day, I don't care if you at lunch, and I'm gonna just keep it real and candid. Kind of, you don't mind, do you?
Go ahead.
Like if you're in the bathroom and you taking a dump, keep your phone with you and go research how to sing in E flat, or what's the Beyonce run. You have to do every day. You have to do this in order to achieve that greatness. Otherwise, you're spinning your wheels. If you're going out to the club shaking your butt and doing, it's not going to work. I've sacrificed so many nights of not going out to a doggone lounge or a club. My friends were like, come on, man, you gotta. Nope. I want to learn how to play the string line, until I got it right. So it all paid off. Thanks to, leaving high school and getting a major scholarship to a university, University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff, have to shout them out. And also was inducted into the Hall of Fame at my school. My award is in the other room.
What was your scholarship in for? Was it for music?
It was music. And little do you know, Tammy, I was kicked out the band, the university band, by my third, fourth year. 3.5 years of being in school, he kicked me out. And long story, but I got back in, and I graduated. I didn't graduate on time, but I was like a 5-year man, which normally people get out in about 5 years anyway. But I wound up receiving one of the highest awards at the school, and that's the Hall of Fame. So now my name is etched in stone at that school, and now I can. My nephews are there. They're seeing that greatness, and I want them to be just as great. But one more point, right quick, about honing in your skills. They have to just make sure that, like I say, I'm gonna reiterate, every day has to be a day where they're gonna, do something toward the craft. If it's looking at YouTube videos, tutorials, piano tutorials, singing tutorials, producing tutorials, how to mix properly. Everything encompasses learning what you, in your area, what you want to do. Even if you're not a singer. I mean, if you're a producer and you're not a singer, maybe singers should study production. Maybe, production people should study singers. So you're well-rounded. So now I can go anywhere. I've been worldwide, as you know.
Right.
being in places I never thought I'd be, or in the company of, and doing what I like doing. That's because why I study. So that's I wanted to say that and kind of reiterate because people don't get it. You
So
Can
don't
do
I
you
get
ask him a
the
question before
reward.
he leaves? Can I
Uh,
ask you a question? One last question, because I just like to get advice anywhere I see where I can. So I noticed that you had said when you were in high school, you were already playing guitar. You said you weren't that great. Then you start playing trombone, was it? And I do know a couple bass players that played trombone first or some type of brass instrument, and then they were bass players, right? My question to you is, I'm assuming you're much better at playing guitar, right? You can actually play now. Okay. So, so my question is, did you like get better because playing the trombone and going to school and doing band, you kind of learned theory, so you were able to apply that? Or did you just start playing songs? Because there's so many videos online, and you just kind of get confused. You don't know what you should be studying. Should I be doing scales? Should I just be learning songs? Should I be, do I need to learn the theory and all these different scales and stuff? So it's kind of hard because it's all over the place on what you should actually be practicing every day.
that's a good question. Because I went to college and high school started it for me. I didn't know. Well, I can say it now, but my ear was my ticket out of the hood. My ear. And somebody told me, one of the saxophone players at the school said, "Man, you can't rely on your ear. You're not gonna make it. You're not gonna make it." Well, I did, got a scholarship, but what happens is when I get to college, it kind of failed me a little bit because sight reading wasn't really my thing. I could read, but I wasn't a great sight reader, you know. And when marching band was over, so you automatically get your scholarship for marching band. But when marching season is over, I think like late November, when all the games are over, they go into concert season for January. So that now you're auditioning. So when you audition, your score got to be like 85 to 90. I score like 65 or somewhere around. It's really low as a third chair player. And that doesn't mean I can't play. I just didn't understand the rudiments, and this is stuff that they throw at you. Now when they throwing it at you, you have to figure it out like quick. So I wasn't that great, but because we had a band that didn't have a concert band that didn't have a lot of personnel and students, he gave me my scholarship back. And you automatically get your scholarship, and you perform and you play and you do all the concert stuff during the fall season. And I did take an applied music class for guitar. Wound up dropping the class because the guy that was recruited to come to our school and play piano was a jazz keyboardist, rest in soul, E.C. Brown. He was really good, and he was much older than, and I was, I think, 18, 19 when I met him. He was like already like 35, 36, but Mr. Burrs, our college band director, gave him a scholarship. He was so good. He was like, "Hey, man, just drop the theory. I'll teach you. I'll show you." So if we was writing stuff on the board or going out playing live, which I did a lot, I learned a lot of the flats and sharps and the nines and 13th. I learned a lot about that stuff playing with him. Can I apply it and use it now in my daily trials when I'm doing? Yeah, of course. I do it now because of what he taught me and other cats that actually played. There was a saxophone player, and I would learn from him, or another trombone player. So I learned from everybody listening. Like I would cut class just to go to the band room and practice piano in one of the practice rooms. Not daily, but I did, and on those nights when we stayed out late playing gigs, hey, I'd pay somebody to do my work. Hey, man, knock this out for me. It's a few dollars, And back then in the 80s, if you gave somebody 15, 20 bucks to knock out your homework assignment, sure, that was like gold to them on campus too. So not to say that I was just behind because I was gigging. And I wanted to learn every aspect of, like you said, the theory. So yes, I picked up a lot of theory, but these days, these kids don't do it. They rely on, like I say, the computer, which I do now, But then there's on my computer, there's a tab for score. So you can actually see the actual chords that you're playing. So if I'm playing an A flat minor on the keyboard or to a B flat minor to an F minor, I can look up and know that I'm playing that because you see it. So now you can just put that to memory and go for it. These kids now just one sample, one hit, one note, and they think they jamming, you know. A lot of people have made a lot of money doing that, but you know, at the end of the day, you know, Quincy Jones and people like that don't respect those people because they're not players. They're not real players. They're just I call them button pushers. Be mad at me, but I call them button pushers. And I spent time learning how to, you know, to do theory and stuff like that and things like that. So that was a good question.
I think that's what I'm gonna have to do, because I hear a lot of people say play by ear. Like my dad plays lead guitar, he plays by ear. But for me, as a vocalist, I can hear. So imagine your vocal cords being strings on a guitar, right? Just for, you know, so my vocal cords are strings on the guitar. I can hear what I want to sing. I know which vocal cord to pluck. But on the neck of a bass, I know what I want to play, but I don't know. I can't just automatically go to it. Now I have to sing each note and find it. So I want to be able to hear and know, I know what I want to play. I can hear it, I can sing it, but I don't know where it is without plucking it out and finding the sound for each note. You know what I mean? And that's
get the app and put piano on your phone. Get that piano app, and that's going to help you out a lot, understanding the chords. So you can sing it, but then can you play the chord behind it? If you can sing something and play that chord behind it, you're batting 1,000. Like you got to take advantage of that. Like you have to do that. That's my teacher instinct kicking in. But you have to, like you said, you can hear it or whatever. But grabbing the app and playing the piano behind it is going to help you out more. So, you know, it's like ear training.
Yep.
So does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, now next time I talk to you, make sure you get that app. You know.
Well, Rob, I want to thank you for joining us, and I can't wait for me to finish these 2 songs for the tracks you sent me, and for you to finally hear them. I'm actually kind of really excited about them because the music that you sent, it feels really good. So I like you know, I've always liked music that that isn't just a 4-bar loop. I like music that moves you and it feels good. So I really like the tracks that you sent me because they feel good.
Yeah.
So hopefully you will like the songs that I wrote.
You have a copy, a sample or something I can hear?
I do, but it's a really rough scratch. I don't know if I want to sing it.
I just want to hear it.
I don't want to sing it yet because I know how critical you are.
Yeah, I'll cut you up.
I know. I was like, I got to go back and sing this when, you know, because when I did the scratch, I was hoarse. So I was like, yeah, I got to come back and sing this over.
Are you coming in town anytime soon?
I haven't made up my mind, but, you know, it's cold. I don't like coming. But, you know, either Thanksgiving or I might come for Thanksgiving. No, I'm not coming for Thanksgiving. I forgot we got plans.
Like,
maybe Christmas. Maybe Christmas.
I'm having an unveiling of another plaque. I got Beyonce, second week in December. 3rd week in December, I'm having just an end of the year party, and I got the idea from R. Kelly because he used to always have these big lavish parties and all his gold and platinum records be around. I'm like, man, I wish I could do that one day. So now I've been doing it. You've been to my house before.
Well, I might be there because somebody actually wanted me to perform the 2nd week in December, but I just don't know. Like, they haven't solidified it yet.
Yeah,
so
let me know.
I told them, you know, that I would come and do it, but it just hasn't been solidified. So let me know. I'm definitely coming.
Let me know what's good. Yeah, because I'm having a little get together for the end of the year. So just thanking my friends and family. Most of my associates and people I work with, family, they can kick rocks. They're already good already.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for joining us. And when I finish the songs and we release it as a single, then we'll bring you back and play the song and see how people react to it.
Cool. Well, it was nice. being here. You
Yeah,
know,
it was nice meeting you. I
yeah,
felt like I knew you. Tammy talked about you so much. I was like, I'm like, I know him,
she didn't
and I
talk
don't
about
know
me too
you.
bad, did she? She didn't talk about me too bad, did she?
No.
No.
Okay, cool. But yeah, let's rock and roll. That's what I always say. Cool.
Okay. Okay. Well, thank you very much for joining us. We got a few more things to cover, but thank you
Okay.
so much for taking the time. I really appreciate you.
All right. Just sign me out and I can figure this out with this camera because I just got it. So I'm not familiar with it.
Okay, cool. Bye.
Take care of yourself. Bye bye.
All
You
right.
too. Bye. Okay, Nicole, it's just you and me.
Well, Tawana is she just commented in the the comments for us.
What
She
did
said,
you
"Where will
say?
his info be posted?" She said, "Where will his info be posted?"
I'll post it on my page, but he doesn't have a website. But I know his email is robdiggymusic at gmail.com. So if you're interested in getting a track or whatever, shoot him an email at robdiggymusic at gmail.com.
So, Tawana, what's the problem, ma'am? Since you in the comments, tell me. Maybe we can help you get connected real quick before we get off of here. Oh, there she go right there. She said it says she's backstage.
Yeah, but every time I ring her on, I don't hear her and I don't see her.
So you have to turn your camera on and your I can't look at the screenshot. It's on my phone.
I'll add her to the stream again, but you see like nothing's there. And every time I asked her, was she there? Got nothing.
Right. So you have to turn your camera on and your mic.
So since we're winding down, I'm gonna go kind of fast with history, and then I want to talk about these current events a little bit that Nicole kind of put me up on. She jokes and she says that she's gonna learn a lot from this broadcast because I know a lot of music history, and I told her, I said, well, I'm gonna learn a lot from you because I pretty much haven't cared about most things for the past 20 years because I think music today is not the greatest. And I don't know most of these people. So some of these names, I'm like, yeah, I think I heard that, but I don't know who the heck that is. So I'm gonna learn too. And that's the great thing when you learn from each other, So you can learn. It's always good to have an open mind and have people who know what you don't know. That way you can continue to learn and grow. And some of it I might incorporate it. Some of it I might just be like, that's interesting.
Right.
So a few interesting historical facts real quick. 50 years ago on November 8th, Led Zeppelin released their fourth album. It had no title on it, but it became known as their Four Symbols album, and it has their trademark song Stairway to Heaven on it. 50 years ago, Santana went to #1 with Santana 3. He did not go to #1 again until the millennium with Supernatural. So you remember that album, Supernatural? It took him that long to get back to #1. 30 years ago, on November 9th, Prince and the New Power Generation released Cream. I know you know that song, even though you're not a Prince fan. 25 years ago on November 14th, Michael Jackson actually got married to Debbie Rowe. You remember that? Everybody was like shocked. And
is that the one who's supposed to? No, that's not the mama to the kids, is she?
Yeah.
Oh.
25 years ago this Sunday. That's interesting. 20 years ago on November 13th, Shakira released her first English album. It's called Laundry Service. And something that I did not know is that Gloria Estefan actually helped her release it, helped her make that transition to an American audience. 15 years ago today, Gerald Levert passed away from a heart attack.
Wow, 15 years.
I know, right? And then 15 years ago, from November 13th, Leon Russell, who's the guy who wrote A Song for You that Donny Hathaway remade, he passed away as well. So those are a couple of big historical facts. And in talking to you, we were talking a little bit this week about current events, and you were asking me, hey, did you hear about what happened with so and so? And I was like, is that a country singer? And you're like, no.
I think we should talk about, even though it's this week and it's what's popping, I still think we should talk about Travis Scott next week because it's a lot. I think it would be longer than the couple minutes we got because it's, it's going into other stuff.
Okay,
You know what I mean?
We can revisit it, but I just want to say real quick, like the couple of things that somewhat bother me about it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I know we live in an opportunistic society. And I know that when people are wronged, yes, of course, everybody wants to get paid, but it just never really sits well in my spirit that the morning after something happens on anything, the first thing you hear about is lawsuits being filed. Like first thing in the morning. Like I don't like that. But that speaks to where our society is.
Well, they because they talking about suing Drake too, and it's like, what Drake got to do with it? Master
was
P.
Drake there?
He was. I don't know if it was his and maybe him and Travis Scott were the hot headliners. I don't know, but Master P was there. They're not suing Master P. They're suing Travis Scott and Drake and the venue, the Astrodome.
Yeah.
And Live Nation. They say Live Nation has a history of security violations or whatever. But I don't know what Drake has to do with it. He wasn't even on the stage. I don't know.
Hey,
Ma'am.
you finally joined us.
Hey, girl.
Okay, so yeah, there is a lot to that, so we can definitely talk about that more.
Because I want to talk about the, me, I'm a conspiracy theorist, so.
But
it's a lot I want to say.
And I know where you're gonna go with it, but I know with some other stuff involved in it too that has since come out with them using drugs and other stuff and whatnot. Some of it, and it's all still coming out. So I'm sure next week we'll have more
information.
Yeah.
So Tawanda, did you hear about Fetty Wap?
No.
Well, so first of all, I didn't even know he was in jail. Okay, he had been in jail and he just got released on a $500,000 bond. So he's being charged with on a distribution charge. So basically the way they describe it, and it's like he's some kind of kingpin. Have y'all watched Power Book, Ghost Power Book?
Yeah.
Right. So how Raquel, ain't that her name, Rock? She was trying to find a distributor. Hey, we got to get more drugs. She was like the boss, but she had a person to go to buy the drugs from, to give to her people to sell. Fetty Wap was that person that the dealers were coming to get it.
Wow.
Right. So there was over 220 pounds of drugs. It was crack. It was heroin, fentanyl, and regular cocaine, crack, heroin, so he was allegedly the big person that was just, giving it to the people to sell. Not oh, you my minions, not that type. He was the big person that the big person was coming to get their stuff for their crew. Allegedly. Allegedly. So I was just kind of wow, what's wrong with you? You like this big known rapper.
Right.
But he wasn't the first one, and there was another one. Another rapper or somebody who went to drugs years ago, 15 years ago or something like that. I can't remember who it was, but they were doing the same type of thing, ruined their career.
Yeah. But it's so we can save some for next week, because I want to talk about too next week, just to give another heads up. Some of these outrageous things these celebrities be asking for backstage and their riders.
You can talk about that. Wait, have y'all ever ridden a rider?
Ridiculous.
I wrote one. Have you ever, Tawanda, have you ever ridden a rider?
Not a good one, but yeah, I've ridden one. Not a good one.
I wrote one, and I'm just curious. Knowing me, What's something that y'all think was in my rider?
Um, I'm gonna be honest. I wouldn't even think that you would have any like demands.
Well, I don't. Well, what you put in your rider is not demands per se. I mean, you can call them that, but some of it is just simple stuff that you want in your dressing room or what have you. So mine was really simple, because y'all know I'm a simple person. So mine was really simple. I wanted a salad,
Okay.
a chicken salad with Italian or vinaigrette dressing. I wanted fresh fruit, mainly strawberries and grapes, and I wanted Pepsi.
And that's funny. Beyonce said no Coca-Cola products near her. Only Pepsi products.
I'm with her on that.
But she's under contract. She can't be seen with nothing but Pepsi products.
Coca-Cola sucks.
Yeah, Coke is.
I grew up, my mother was an RC person.
My mom too.
Until about 1980, 81, or maybe it was 82. I don't know. When I kind of want to say it was right before or right after that Michael Jackson commercial came out. No, the Michael Jackson with his brothers, The Choice of a New Generation. It was right around that time, so it was early 80s. The one with Alfonso Ribeiro when he was moonwalking back, and he moonwalked back into Michael Jackson.
Oh, okay.
Somewhere around that time, my mama switched from RC to Pepsi, and she been Pepsi ever since.
Well, that wasn't 82 because I remember that. I was only four in 82.
Because he had on the Thriller jacket, so it might have been 84, 85.
Yeah.
Might have been 84, 85. But okay, so next week we'll talk about Travis Scott. You want to talk about Kanye next week too?
We could throw him in there a little bit.
Okay. For everybody who does not know, Diana Ross released a new album. We didn't get to listen to it yet. We will listen to it and tell you guys what we think. But her new album came out November 5th. It's called Thank You. It's her first album in 15 years and her first album of new original music in over 20 years. So I did listen to one song, but we're going to talk about all of that, after I listen to the whole project. But Tawana's not a big Diana Ross fan, I don't think. But Nicole and I like Diana Ross and appreciate
I like Diana Ross. But my mama used to think she was Diana Ross.
Really?
I like Diana as much as you like Prince.
Oh, not at all. No, I'm just playing.
Tawana, you want to do the birthdays or you want me to do it? You got them?
I think I got it. I'm happy to be here. And
Scorpio season.
You got to show the pictures, Tammy.
We gonna get there.
Lord. All right, so we have November 8th, 1942, Gerald Alston. 1947, Minnie Riperton. 1949, Bonnie Raitt. November 9th, 1939, Hubert Laws. 1941, Tim Fogarty. 1969, Sandra Denton Pepper. 1970, Scarface Brad Terrence Jordan. 1977, Cisco, aka Mark Andrews. Today, 1970, Warren.
You said Cisco? You talking about thong, Cisco?
Yeah, thong. And when she said Sandra Denton, she said pepper so quick. She's talking about salt and pepper.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. November 10th, 1970, Warren G. 1978, Eve.
Who?
1983, Eve.
The rapper.
I'm older than Eve.
Who is just now pregnant and about to have a baby.
Mm-hmm.
Congratulations to Eve. 1983, Miranda Lambert. November 11th. I'm not sure who Miranda Lambert is.
Country singer. She was married to Blake.
Oh.
They got divorced though. Now he dating Gwen. Stefani. Did y'all watch The Voice?
I do.
I don't.
Blake Shelton is one of the judges. He's a country guy.
He been on there for 22 seasons or something. He been there since the beginning.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he been there since the beginning, but they ain't been on 22 seasons, have they?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that ain't 22 years. I guess 22
Mm-mm.
seasons
I think
the
they
way
do
they do
2
seasons.
seasons a year or something like that. It's like half a year or something. Because they say it every time. Because I watch it now. And
Okay.
he said, "Someone I've been here for 20 seasons." He said every episode.
The Voice, is that the one where the chair turns around?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. I watch it if I'm scrolling through on Facebook and I'm looking at something. Other than that, I have no idea what's going on with that. November 11th, 1929, Dolores Laverne Baker. She's from Chicago. Tweedledee, Jim Dandy, and I Cried a Tear.
Those were just songs that she had, just to kind of give a reference.
November 12th, 1944, Booker T. Jones. 1949, Arthur Tavares.
From the group Tavares. You know that group? It only takes a minute, girl, to fall in love.
Oh. Yeah, I know the song, but didn't know the name of the group. 1957, Miles J. Hey, 1976, Tevin Campbell. I had the biggest crush on him when I was little. 1984, Omari Ishmael Granberry. And November 14th, Adina Howard.
Okay.
And we have 2 other birthdays. Nicole, you want to say whose birthday?
Right. Tristan's birthday, November 12th. He'll be 19. And Ladybug birthday is November 16th. She'll be 9.
Oh,
Oh.
birthday.
Oh, my 2 sweeties.
Okay, so Tawana, what were you up to today? We were having some technical difficulties.
Yeah, I'm not sure what happened. I was in there and then I got kicked out and then I came back and it just said every time I tried to turn the camera on, it would blink out. It told me that I was backstage and that when you were ready, that I would be entered in and that I should get ready. So now
Yeah, I tried a couple of times. It was just a blank screen, and you'll go back and see. But I don't know. Did you hear the winners? The winners were No One in the World for week 1 for the best. September was the worst. Swift. All I Do Is Think of You was the best for week 2, and My Prerogative was the worst for week 2.
I have to listen to that one.
Girl,
I'm sure it's horrible. I just was like, when I saw the name, I was like, oh.
And I'm glad that he enjoyed Boyz II Men. Yes, yes.
the thing is, Boyz II Men, they are technically, great singers, right? They're technically great singers. Nicole and I were talking about another remake where I prefer the original. Did you ever go back and listen to the original, Nicole?
Who?
It's So Hard to Say Goodbye.
And it's by who?
G.C. Cameron.
I don't think I did, no.
So
I'm gonna have to
that
go listen
song,
to it. It's not a group, is it just a person?
It's just a person. It's just a person. Now see, on that remake.
And I probably didn't go back and listen to it because I don't care for the song. And maybe that's why it's kind of like, it's like, And then everybody want to sing it at funerals. And
have you ever seen the movie?
Lean on Me.
Cooley High.
Same thing.
With Coach T.
I don't remember if I saw Cooley High or not. I probably saw bits and pieces of it.
Okay. So a lot of people love that song. They love Boyz II Men's remake because technically and vocally, or Boyz II Men are better singers than G.C. Cameron. However, I prefer the original, and I think it's because of the emotional connection to the song. Because I'm a person that a song has to pull me in. I have to feel it, and I have to connect with what you're doing. And to me, on that song, I feel like Boyz II Men, they're singing the song. They're singing it technically well, but I feel G.C. Cameron.
I'm gonna have to go back and listen to. You said, well, I could find whoever this T.C. Campbell is.
GC Cameron.
Oh,
Okay, so sorry guys that we had to change the day today. Next week we'll be back at our regularly scheduled time, and it will be on Monday, every Monday, going forward. But we appreciate those who checked in briefly, and this will be up and people can go back and watch it later. Want to thank our special guest, Rob Diggy, for joining us. If you were not able to join us when you go back, he dropped a lot of knowledge about music and his journey. And you know, if you are a singer, songwriter, and you need some music, you can reach out to him. His email is robdiggymusic@gmail.com. You can listen to some of what he did. He actually did the remix of the song I'm using as the intro with Maurice Joshua. He is a Grammy Award-winning arranger. He's had a few Grammy considerations. He does movie scores, and he's doing his thing. And he's spoken to existence that one of these days he's gonna win his Oscar. So I claim it. So thank you guys for joining us. We really appreciate you. You guys have any parting words? Did I lose you?
No, I'm still here. I really enjoyed tonight. I'm going to take into consideration a lot of the things that he spoke about. I would like to start learning how to play an instrument, but I'm lazy. I'm lazy, so I know that in order to better myself, there are some things that I'm going to have to change. So
Yeah. Okay, Nicole.
I can't hear y'all.
You can't hear us? Don't she look like Diana Ross? That you know that picture of Diana
I was
Ross?
about to say. That's why I was
You look like
laughing.
Diana Ross right there.
I don't know what y'all saying. Can y'all hear me?
Yes. Yes. But anyway, we want to thank you guys for joining us. We want to say peace and blessings and see you guys next
I see
week.
peace.
See you next week.
So natural to sit down here. It's natural.